What it do, peeps? Sheryl Swoopes is been missing. Sheryl Swoopes is MIA. They got a APB out for Sheryl Swoopes. If you see Sheryl Swoopes, she did a lot of talking a few months ago about the Indiana Fever, the locker room environment, how people didn't want to play there, how people wanted to leave.
Sheryl Swoopes really missed the mark this time. With a bold stance and a voice full of certainty, she boldly claimed that Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever were doomed to fail in attracting top-tier free agents. But fast forward, and the Fever just pulled off one of the most impressive free agency hauls the league has ever seen. As for Sheryl, well, she's now the human equivalent of a malfunctioning Magic 8 ball, constantly wrong every step of the way.
People in the Fever were like, y'all.
That's not my point. There's a lot of other shit going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some
So
new shit
that-
going on
it's a
around
lot.
there.
It's a lot. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I don't
want to be here.
This is where I want to be.
Yeah.
Let's hit rewind for a second. Sheryl Swoopes, Hall of Famer, basketball icon, no doubt. But these days, she's clocking in full-time as a professional skeptic, putting in some serious overtime. With all her experience, she boldly declared that the Fever would never land elite players because of supposed locker room drama. And yet, here we are. Contracts signed, deals sealed, and Indiana just built a powerhouse. Meanwhile, Sheryl's left watching from the sidelines, looking a little foolish, probably brainstorming her next questionable hot take.
Stephanie White came in and said, okay, hold up. Let me go to Indeed.com and Indeed get some free agents to come in here that want to play, that are accomplished, seasoned veterans. She did all that. Sheryl's been nowhere to been found. Sheryl got a lot of crow to eat, folks. Sheryl could be choking on crow right now. She need that Heimlich maneuver. If you see Sheryl Swoopes, tell her it's okay to come out and talk and say, man, you was wrong. It's okay.
I can picture Sheryl scrolling through her phone like, no way these players picked Indiana. But surprise, Natasha Howard, DeWanna Bonner, Sophie Cunningham, and even Asia Wilson's best friend, Sydney Colson, are all in the Fever. They didn't just win free agency, they absolutely cooked it. And when Colson was asked why she signed with Indiana, let's roll the footage.
Yeah, I talked to Sydney Colson today about her signing with Indiana. She said that Kelsey Mitchell was actually the first person she hit up because they built a bond here, playing AU for the last 3 years. She said she heard some good things about Caitlin Clark from her Aces teammate Kate Martin as well, so that made the decision easy.
Exactly. She was drawn to playing alongside Kelsey Mitchell, a longtime friend, and the rising star, Caitlin Clark. These were the very two players Sheryl Swoopes wrote off just months ago. And here's the kicker. This is the same Sheryl who said Caitlin Clark would need years to get used to the WNBA. Years? Seriously? Clark's out here casually dropping 40 points like it's nothing, while Swoopes' predictions are aging about as well as spoiled milk.
3 WNBA MVPs in your career. Would you consider each of those 3 seasons as dominant seasons for yourself?
No.
I can't. Bro, Sheryl Swoopes is willing to lie about her own career before she even admits that Caitlin is dominant.
At this point, it feels like hating on Caitlin Clark has become Sheryl Swoopes' personal Olympic event, and she's snagging gold. Actually, she's probably sweeping the entire podium, gold, silver, and bronze, looking all kinds of salty while the anthem plays. Oh, Caitlin won't make the leap to the WNBA. Well, someone should let Indiana know, because they're out here stacking elite talent like they're building an all-star team. Caitlin Clark isn't just finding her footing, she's dominating, and the Fever are right there with her. Maybe it's time for Sheryl Swoopes to take a back seat, because Indiana just gave her a reality check.
No, but players who will be free agents next year. There's a lot of other shit going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Let's not fool ourselves. The real reason some of these WNBA vets and self-proclaimed legends can't stand Caitlin Clark is because she didn't play by their rules. She didn't wait her turn or ask for permission to stand out. Nah, she waltzed in, shattered 62 records in her rookie season, embraced the fans, and took the sport to new global heights. And, oh, does that sting for them? You bet it does.
The Indiana Fever are that golden destination, and I can't help but laugh to the fans and the people online and the media commentators, unfortunately, who said that nobody wanted to play in Indiana. That doesn't make any sense.
Caitlin Clark didn't need anyone's approval to claim her spot as the face of women's basketball. She's got more global recognition than half the league combined, and that's not by accident. That's the power of being a generational talent. Sheryl Swoopes, Angel Reese, Aja Wilson, and the rest of the Caitlin haters are just going to have to live with it. While they're busy throwing shade, Caitlin is out here racking up accolades, selling out arenas, and making the Indiana Fever the hottest ticket in town. And let's take a moment to appreciate this. The Indiana Fever, the team once overlooked by everyone, are now the center of the basketball world. The former league underdog is now the squad every player wants to join. Now that's what you call shifting the entire landscape.
You know, a lot of people say that Caitlin Clark moves the needle. That is wrong. She is the needle. She dictates. We all know what she's done on the floor. It's history, right? But off the floor, my goodness.
So, Sheryl, what happened to that claim about players not wanting to go to Indiana? Who exactly were you talking to? The ghosts of teams long gone? Because real, relevant players are lining up to join the Fever like it's the VIP section of an exclusive club. Did she honestly think Caitlin Clark would have to beg anyone to team up with her? Let's be real here.
Went even further when a game that Sheryl Swoopes was calling for the Dallas Wings, where the commentator was talking about how great Caitlin Clark had been playing. Sheryl Swoopes, silent for 60 seconds, didn't even want to address it. And it got so bad that the game that Dallas then went to play against the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark after the domination of the Chicago Sky, Sheryl Swoopes got pulled from the broadcast.
Someone better check on Sheryl because she's clearly stuck in 2002 when the Fever were stumbling through mediocrity like it was some kind of team-building drill. Sis, things have shifted. This isn't Tamika Catchings trying to lift a squad of part-time gym teachers. The Indiana Fever are stacked now. Natasha Howard, a champion, defensive powerhouse, and certified scorer. Here's what she had to say when she signed on with the team.
It's going to be Caitlin Clark Flash Show, Caitlin Clark Flash Show. So it's going to be phenomenal playing with a point guard, like you said, that have a good vision on the court. Because that's like as soon as she get the ball in her hand, she's throwing it up because she already see the person down the court before she even get the ball in her hand. So that's one thing I love about her vision on the court. I really can't wait to catch all those passes and give her all the assists that she needs.
DeWanna Bonner, standing tall at 6 feet 4 inches, a walking mismatch, an elite scorer, and a key player in the WNBA's top tier. And guess what? She just fired back at all the Fever doubters on Twitter. Then there's Sophie Cunningham, bringing the heat, the confidence, and enough smack talk to shake any arena. So, who did she want to team up with?
Why does everybody hate Caitlin Clark? And do you hate Caitlin Clark? Come on, talk
dude.
to me.
Absolutely not. I think that she's a gem. I didn't know her, but All-Star Weekend, we kind of bantered back and forth a little bit. And she's lovely. She has a lot of pressure on her shoulders. And I think a lot of people always have a lot to say with people they don't even know or shoes they've never been in. And for me, I think she's handling the pressure very well. She's doing a lot of great things for women's basketball. And I'm a fan. Like, I would love to play with her one day, for real.
And Sydney Colson, whether she's logging major minutes or not, is about to transform the Fever locker room into the most fun, high-energy space the team has ever seen. The chemistry? Off the charts. Do we sense a trend here? They all chose Indiana. They all decided to play with the core group of Caitlin, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexi Hull. So while Sheryl Swoopes is busy crafting her next misguided hot take, The Fever are out here building a dynasty. Maybe it's time someone hands Sheryl a pair of glasses because she might be talking about the wrong team. Could she be referring to the Las Vegas Aces, the Chicago Sky, or the Connecticut Sun, all of which seem to be falling apart? The Fever are here, and they're not just showing up, they're taking over.
You know that I'm very excited, and I really agree with a lot of the moves the Indiana Fever have made. There's not been one trade or pickup that the Indiana Fever have made that I have not been on board with. I'm on board with every single one. And I just want to say the fact that the Indiana Fever have gone out and got these great players like a Natasha Howard, like a DeWanna Bonner, like a Sophie Cunningham, the fact that they've gone out and got these great players shows that they believe Caitlin Clark is great right now. They are on board with the Caitlin Clark vision, and it just makes me happy, because they're not treating Caitlin Clark like a rookie who is going to be good in 10 years. No, they're treating her like a superstar who is good right now.
Sheryl Swoopes really thought she was dropping some major insights on the Gills Arena podcast. She hopped on the mic like she was about to spill top secret info, but all she ended up revealing was just how much her credibility has taken a hit. At this point, are we even shocked? Sheryl's out here throwing out hot takes like it's her side hustle, and if there were a Hall of Fame for terrible opinions, she'd be a first ballot unanimous pick.
Hey guys, it's Sophie Cunningham here. I'm finally in Indiana, and I am so excited to be here and meet all of you. See you guys at the game. Bye.
Those aren't the words of someone who doesn't want to play for the Indiana Fever. No, those are the words of Sophie Cunningham, the WNBA enforcer, who just landed in Indiana and is ready to shake things up for Caitlin Clark and the squad.
Finally here! All right.
While Sheryl Swoopes said nobody wants to play in Indiana, Sophie Cunningham was lighting up the internet with excitement about joining the Fever. In this video, we'll break down Sophie's thoughts on Caitlin Clark, her first day with the team, and how she's shutting down the haters.
Oh gosh, this is the first time I've seen my jersey. Oh, I love this. It's like I'm a rookie all over again.
What if I told you that while Sheryl Swoopes was running her mouth about nobody wanting to play for Indiana, Sophie Cunningham was poolside in Phoenix when she got the trade call, and her reaction? Not disappointment, not hesitation, just pure excitement.
Where were you when you found out about this, and what was kind of that general reaction to a fresh start here?
Yeah, you guys will learn that if I'm not in the gym, I'm normally by the pool. And so I was actually poolside when I found out. And, you know, there's a lot of emotions just because I have been out there for so long. But to be honest, my original thought was like, oh, heck yeah. Like, we're about to go win a championship. Like, that's exactly where my mind went. And like I said, it's all about the people. It's about the culture. I learned a lot out there, but now I'm ready to move on to something bigger, something better, and have a lot of really great players around me to, you know, seriously go win a championship.
That's right. The idea that top players don't want to join the Fever just got completely shattered. While the haters were busy cooking up their next criticism, Sophie was already gearing up for a championship run in Indiana. Talk about shutting down all that negativity.
Yeah, you know, I'm stoked. I'm so excited. I think it's refreshing. I've been in Phoenix for the past 6 years, was drafted out there. I've had a really great time. I've been very blessed with being around a lot of GOATs in the game and learning the game on another level. But again, like, this is just a new style, and this is the style that I thrive in. When you have people who can shoot the ball, who move the ball, who are running gunners, and share the ball, like, this is the type of offense that I want to be in.
When Sophie finally stepped into Gainbridge Fieldhouse, her excitement was absolutely contagious. The Fever's social media captured her pure joy as she took in her new basketball home. In one video that quickly went viral, Sophie introduced herself with all-out enthusiasm.
I'm just stoked, and like I said, the offense is more my style, but I'm also surrounded by a great culture and great people, and that's what I'm also very excited about, to be here in Indiana.
But there's something even deeper about this move for Sophie. As a Missouri native, returning to the Midwest feels like coming home. "I love it," she said during her intro to the Indiana media. "My roots are here in the Midwest, and just being closer to home." This wasn't just a trade, it was a return to her heartland.
How impactful will it be for you and your family to be back here in the Midwest, something that Caitlin had as well, and within driving distance for everyone, right?
I love it. My roots are here in the Midwest, and just to be closer to home. My sister is married and has a kid, has another one on the way, and family is everything to me. I have a really great support system, and you better believe I've already had over 100, 200 people reach out. Hey, how do we get season tickets? I was like, I have no idea. I just got traded 2 hours ago. So I think we're going to have a pretty cool fan base up here from Missouri. But again, it's my Midwest roots. I'm excited to be around Midwesterners again. It's my type of people, and so I'm happy to be here.
What makes Sophie's arrival even more impactful is how it's already shaping team chemistry. In a league where some stars bring egos bigger than their talent, Sophie wasted no time stressing the importance of a selfless culture.
I'm just excited, but to be honest, I think when you have a group that can let go of the egos and you're really just here to win and work hard, I think that's the best type of group, and you're all willing to do the dirty work, and I think that's what I'm most excited about. That's my bread and butter right there, is outwork your opponents and have fun doing it.
Fans flooded social media with excitement, showing overwhelming support for seeing her in action. The connection was immediate. No adjustment period needed. Sophie didn't just join the team, she fully embraced it from day one.
Now that I've been here, and I have been paying a lot more attention to it, and it's crazy, right? Like it's a whirlwind, and there's an adjustment period, not only for her, but for her teammates around her, for Indiana as a whole. But I think it's all really good things. And so it takes a little bit to get adjusted to it. But after that, I mean, come on, it's part of something great that doesn't come around very often. And so if you're not paying attention, I don't know what you're doing.
This is exactly the type of addition the Fever needed. Someone who truly wants to be there, believes in the vision, and brings both skill and energy to the locker room. While critics like Swoopes cling to outdated narratives, players like Sophie are backing it up with their actions, proving that Indiana has become a destination franchise in the WNBA.
I know you said earlier this month that you'd do the Sabrina Carpenter to Caitlin's Taylor Swift.
That was a joke, but I guess people really took that seriously.
People love it. What excites you about playing with her this year?
I mean, she has changed our game in the best possible way in every way. And so just to be alongside of her and maybe relieve the pressure, being able to shoot and spread the court for her to go do her thing.
Remember all those times last season when opponents treated Caitlin Clark like a punching bag? The cheap shots, the hard screens, the unnecessary contact after whistles? Well, the Fever just added the one thing Clark desperately needed but didn't have. A true enforcer ready to make opponents think twice.
She's still young, and I think that I've been taken under, Diana took me under her wing, and I've learned a lot from her, and now I hope to kind of do the same for Caitlin if she wants it. I just think the relationship piece is huge, and when you're trying to do something great, it takes everybody, and so I want her to go do her thing, and anything she needs from me, I'm going to be here. But again, I think that just the competitor that I am, I'm fierce, I'm sassy. I stick up for my teammates, stick up for myself, and so sometimes I think that's okay to be feisty and to be yourself.
Sophie Cunningham isn't just bringing her game to Indiana, she's bringing her reputation as one of the WNBA's fiercest competitors, the kind of player that makes opponents think twice before crossing her. In her introductory press conference, Sophie made it clear, I'm fierce, I'm sassy, I stick up for my teammates, I stick up for myself. And those 5 words about sticking up for her teammates? They might be the most important thing Caitlin Clark's heard all offseason.
Excited to play in front of the fans. I think that she's drawn a lot of people, not only to Indiana, but to the women's game as a whole. And so just to be a part of something great, just really happy to be here.
Let's be real. Last season was tough for the rookie superstar. We all saw Caitlin Clark get knocked around, bumped, and targeted game after game with little to no repercussions. The physicality kept ramping up, and it felt like her teammates were either too slow or unwilling to step in and send a message. It was like watching a boxing match where only one fighter had someone in their corner.
Caitlin Clark was getting hit a lot. She was getting hit a lot early, and they needed their Charles Oakley. You've got that in Sophie Cunningham.
This is where Sophie Cunningham steps up. Throughout her career in Phoenix, Sophie became known as the ultimate teammate protector. When opponents targeted Mercury stars, they knew they'd have to answer to her. Now, she's made it clear that same protection is coming to Caitlin Clark and the rest of the Fever roster.
There are so many videos of Sophie Cunningham just starting brawls.
Sophie isn't just about getting physical, she's all in when it comes to doing the dirty work. Whether finishing through contact or creating space, she thrives in those moments. This toughness fills a major gap the Fever had last season, especially when the game got physical.
If she hits a three, Maisha Hines-Allen fouls her and then tries to step over. And then Sophie Cunningham grabs her leg. Nobody's going near Maisha Hines-Allen, but no, Sophie Cunningham will start the fight. The refs are trying to break it up. None of the Mercury players are going to go near Maisha Hines-Allen. They're scared. She'll scare the bejesus out of them. Maisha Hines-Allen's one of the toughest players in this league. Sophie Cunningham going head to head straight with her.
When you're trying to do something great, it takes everybody. I want her to do her thing. Anything she needs from me, I'm going to be here, Sophie declared, setting the tone for what her role in Indiana will be. With those words, she made it crystal clear that protecting Caitlin Clark isn't just an afterthought. It's a core part of her mission. Sophie's ability to take on the physical grind, absorb the hits, and finish plays through defenders will be the shield Clark desperately needs. No longer will Clark have to worry about the constant hits. With Sophie in the mix, she'll be free to shine without looking over her shoulder. The Enforcer has arrived, and she's got Clark's back every step of the way.
Caitlin Clark is going to spend all of next season playing in NBA arenas. We've got rival fans being furious that, Caitlin Clark is that she's getting new arenas, getting moved to new arenas. You've got people saying that they're pushing the Fever. Why are they pushing the Fever?
Caitlin Clark isn't just making waves, she's flooding the league. WNBA franchises are practically abandoning their home courts like they've been hit with a fire alarm that says, Caitlin's coming. Teams like Atlanta, Chicago, Connecticut, Dallas, Las Vegas, and Washington, D.C. are all scrambling to larger venues just to handle the Clark impact. Meanwhile, Angel Reese is probably doom-scrolling, wondering why her name isn't splashed across those massive billboards.
One thing is very clear. The Indiana Fever is America's team. And boy, the haters, by the time this season is over, their heads are going to have exploded already. They're going to be so angry by the end of this WNBA season. I mean, it's going to be hilarious watching the daily meltdown.
Take a moment to absorb this. WNBA teams are willingly leaving behind their cherished home courts to make room for one rookie phenom. This isn't hype. This is history in the making. 6 different franchises are moving their games to NBA arenas, meaning every Indiana Fever road game is now played in a venue with at least 15,000 seats. This isn't about following a trend. It's because Caitlin Clark has the kind of draw that fills arenas like no one else in the league. While some teams are still playing in what feel like converted gymnasiums, Caitlin's impact demands NBA-level venues. That's the kind of territory reserved for superstars.
That there are 6 WNBA teams that have moved their games to NBA or NBA size arenas.
Let's not kid ourselves. These aren't just slightly larger gymnasiums. These are full-blown arena upgrades. The Atlanta Dream are stepping up to the State Farm Arena. The Chicago Sky, yes, the same team that once treated Angel Reese like the second coming of Michael Jordan, are now dialing it back with 2 games at the United Center. And it's not for Reese, it's for Clark. Because unless the Indiana Fever are in town, Reese might as well be playing at a local community center. Even the Aces, with their glitz and trophies, are booking the T-Mobile Arena just to prepare for the Fever frenzy.
Caitlin Clark, the people's champion! Let's get it!
That's a deep one.
Bang!
Just announced that Caitlin Clark and the Fever will be playing 41 of 44 games this year on national TV. They're coming to watch the other girl, right? Right? Bang! Teams are moving their games with the Fever to NBA arenas so they can sell more tickets. How about that? Bang! Angel Reese attempted a 3 this deep. I think she might dislocate her shoulder.
Bang!
You want some butter with that bread? Butter. Butter.
Butter pecan! Bang!
It's honestly hilarious when you think about it. Just last season, these teams were all acting like Caitlin Clark was just another rookie. We don't need her, they boasted, chests puffed. The league is fine without her. And now, here we are. The same teams are practically begging for court space big enough to accommodate the Clark crowds. It's not just about rolling out the red carpet anymore. It's like tearing up the road and rebuilding it with gold bricks.
Atlanta Dream moved 1 game to the State Farm Arena. Chicago Sky moved 2 games to the United Center. home of the Bulls, home of the Blackhawks. In Atlanta, by the way, that's the home of the Hawks. Connecticut Sun moved 1 game to TD Garden, home of the NBA Celtics. That's going to look really freaking cool on TV.
Special shout out to Connecticut. This franchise doesn't even have an NBA arena nearby. So what do? They pack up and move the whole operation to Boston. Yep, new state, new zip code, new everything, just to make room for Caitlin Clark. That's not just special treatment, that's royalty-level hospitality. Can you imagine if Angel Reese tried to pull the same stunt? They'd probably laugh her all the way to some suburban middle school gym.
We're now at the stage where Caitlin Clark is probably going to be responsible. I'm not joking when I say this. For like games where she plays in are probably going to be responsible for like 30% of the attendance in the WNBA.
And it doesn't stop there. The Dallas Wings and Washington Mystics are also moving their Clark matchups to larger venues, complete with extra seating, luxury suites, and, let's face it, bigger profit margins. This isn't a coincidence, it's strategic planning. When Caitlin Clark rolls into town, it's not just a game, it's an economic boom. One ESPN analyst even dubbed her the WNBA's walking GDP boost. He meant it as a joke, but honestly, the numbers speak for themselves.
There are teams that are going to average 3,000 fans at games, but have 17,000 fans when Caitlin Clark shows up to town with the Fever.
Now, let's check in on the critics. The same ones who were screaming from the rooftops that Clark was overhyped have suddenly gone awfully quiet. Why? Because their arenas are packed, their jerseys are flying off the shelves, and their TV ratings are through the roof. All thanks to the player they once claimed didn't matter. And as for Angel Reese, she's still stewing over her not-so-unrivaled championship, watching Caitlin dominate the spotlight, the schedule, and the arenas.
The Phoenix Mercury play in the NBA arena. The Seattle Storm do. There are 13 WNBA teams, 7 already playing NBA arenas. The other 6 are moving their games to NBA arenas versus the Fever. You can't acknowledge that she is the needle mover. Yeah.
Before Caitlin Clark hit the WNBA, the average game barely drew 6,000 fans, about as many as you'd see at a high school pep rally. But Clark? She's effortlessly filling 20,000-seat arenas like it's no big deal. That's not just an increase, that's triple the usual turnout. These fans aren't there for the home team, they're showing up for her. WNBA execs are practically falling over themselves, openly admitting they'd give up home court advantage just to cash in on the Clark phenomenon. That's not hype. That's a walking ATM and sneakers.
I believe there was actually a debate on who was Rookie of the Year last year. Imagine being that delusional. Bang! People need to understand she saved this league. Powder, there's no TV deals, no ad sponsorships, heck, no shoe deals for you, Angel Reese, no McDonald's money. The league losing millions of dollars each year. She saved them from bankruptcy. Time to be grateful. Bang! 93% of her games on national TV. She's like that. Bang!
Let's talk numbers. WNBA attendance shot up by 48% last season, and unless your math is off, that increase has Caitlin Clark's name written all over it. Teams aren't just scheduling her games, they're building their entire season around her appearances. The Las Vegas Aces, the same team that snickers whenever Clark's name trends, have quietly moved multiple games to the T-Mobile Arena. Why? Because they know the Caitlin effect is the real MVP. All the eye rolls and cryptic tweets aside, even they can't deny she's the main attraction.
Now we've got some more information on the games and some perspective. Here we are. Indiana Fever put this out, man, just a few minutes ago. All eyes on us. 41 of our 44 games are on national television.
Now, here's where it gets wild. Caitlin Clark has secured 41 nationally televised games this season. That's not just more airtime than any other player. It's more than entire franchises have had in years. We're talking ESPN, ABC, CBS, NBA TV. Every network wants a piece of the Clark action. It's a broadcast feeding frenzy, and trust me, no one's settling for leftovers.
The most television games in franchise history, the most national television games in for a single team in WNBA history. How about that?
Last season, the Indiana Fever were basically an afterthought. They were the dusty book collecting cobwebs on the bottom shelf, overlooked and forgotten. But with Caitlin Clark in the mix, they've transformed into the league's golden child, now the star attraction in every primetime slot. The same team that struggled at the bottom of the standings is now the crown jewel of WNBA coverage. And you know that's stinging players like Angel Reese. For years, they assumed the throne was just waiting for them. But then Caitlin Clark shows up, shattering records, drawing massive ratings, and showing off a range that leaves everyone in the dust. Suddenly, it's her show, and the spotlight's all hers.
First person I can honestly say that looks like Steph Curry. Like, she's not guardable right now, and she can hit almost any shot from the outside.
Almost any. How much of a power she is out there on the court. The cool part is the way that she plays and her range and the level of difficulty on her shots is obviously a very close comparison.
From long-range shots to lasting influence, Caitlin Clark isn't just setting records, she's shattering them. Surpassing even Steph Curry's iconic three-point average, she's reshaping the future of basketball. But what happens when Caitlin Clark crosses paths with Steph Curry's legacy?
Do you think Caitlin Clark could beat Steph Curry in a three-point contest?
That's tough. Shooters can have an off night. You just never know. Caitlin has no conscience where she pulls from.
Steph has no conscience where he pulls from.
Been doing it for a long time, so can never go against Steph. Steph has been doing it for a long time.
Recently, Caitlin Clark has solidified her place in basketball history, and it's not just because of her scoring ability, it's where she scores from. New stats show that Caitlin Clark now holds the record for the longest average three-point range, an incredible 28 feet.
I think the WNBA narrative right now is Caitlin Clark, and I think that's a good narrative, but it's also not the only narrative. Caitlin is an amazing generational talent, and she's going to do amazing things. You're the #1 pick. People are going to go after.
This remarkable accomplishment not only surpasses the previous record held by NBA legend Steph Curry, but it also sets a new, higher standard for shooting excellence in basketball. By pushing the boundaries of what was once thought possible, Caitlin Clark has redefined the range at which players can score, inspiring future generations to aim even further.
Do I need to call you the female version of Steph Curry, or do I need to call Steph Curry the male version of Caitlin Clark?
I think I'll just be the female version of Steph.
At just 22 years old, Clark's achievement is far more than a statistical outlier. It's a reflection of her unmatched skill, court awareness, and unshakable confidence. As the all-time leading scorer in college basketball, regardless of gender, she has already left an indelible mark on the game. With her new record-breaking 28-foot average, Caitlin Clark has not just added a new statistic to her resume, she's fundamentally redefined what it means to be a sharpshooter in the modern era. To put her accomplishment into perspective, Steph Curry, widely considered the greatest shooter in basketball history, boasts a three-point range averaging around 27 feet. At the time, that seemed untouchable. Curry's range revolutionized the game, sparking an era of deep shooting and permanently changing the way basketball is played. But now, Caitlin Clark has pushed that boundary even further, raising the bar to new heights.
I love me some Steph Curry. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter in the history of basketball.
However, Clark has taken that revolution even further, stretching the boundaries of possibility with an additional foot of range that makes her a constant threat the moment she crosses half court. This is no accident. Clark's shooting range is the result of years of dedicated training, an innate basketball IQ, and an unwavering competitive spirit. Her shooting form is a perfect balance of precision and power, enabling her to effortlessly launch shots from well beyond the arc. But what truly sets her apart is her fearlessness. Clark isn't afraid to take shots from distances most players wouldn't even think about. Whether it's a contested three in the final seconds of a game or a casual pull-up from 30 feet on the fast break, she makes what seems impossible look completely effortless.
Shout out to Caitlin Clark. She's a certified bucket. To quote Shaq, I was not familiar with her game. I respect her game. She's a fucking baller. She was pulling up like Steph Curry from deep. But I just got one question. Matt, do you think you can beat Caitlin Clark in one-on-one?
Absolutely not. Nobody
crazy.
here can.
I'm busting her ass. You wild. Shit. You wild, bro.
This record also speaks volumes about the evolution of women's basketball. Clark's success stands as a powerful testament to how the game has progressed, with athletes consistently pushing the limits of what's possible on the court. Her remarkable shooting range has drawn comparisons to Curry, but it has also established her as a trailblazer in her own right, showing that women's basketball is just as dynamic, innovative, and game-changing as the men's game.
I think Steph Curry made the WNBA watchable.
Caitlin Clark, baby.
The way that Caitlin Clark was playing was a very digestible form of basketball. But now this girl out of nowhere is playing like Steph, and it was still digestible.
Meanwhile, Clark has reached this milestone in an era where defenders are more focused than ever on limiting long-range threats. Opponents specifically game plan to neutralize her, yet she continues to excel, constantly finding ways to create space and sink one clutch shot after another from deep. Her 28-foot average isn't just a number, it's a declaration of dominance. As Caitlin Clark keeps breaking records and exceeding expectations, the basketball world is left to wonder just how much further she can push the boundaries of shooting.
Is there anybody in the NBA under the age of 30 that's a bigger name, bigger jaw, bigger star than Caitlin Clark?
For now, one thing is clear. Clark has not only surpassed Steph Curry's legendary mark, but has firmly established herself as one of the most transformative figures in basketball. Her 28-foot average three-point range is more than just a record, it's the foundation of a legacy in the making. Caitlin Clark isn't just redefining the game of basketball, she's reshaping its entire business model. The sharpshooting sensation, already celebrated for her historic three-point average that outpaces even Curry, is demonstrating that her influence extends far beyond the court.
I mean, honestly, $1,000 for a family of four to go to a WNBA game. That seems wild. It really does. The Clark effect.
Clark now represents an incredible 1/4 of all WNBA merchandise and ticket sales. This remarkable achievement highlights her power to attract fans, drive revenue, and become a true game changer for women's sports. Moreover, in a league that has long battled for visibility and equality, Clark has sparked an unprecedented wave of fan engagement. From jerseys bearing her name to arenas packed with fans chanting in her honor, Clark is more than just a player, she's become a movement.
Caitlin Clark, her style of play it's not just her individually as a person or what skin color she is. I think it's, more so about her style of play, her playing.
According to reports, her merchandise sales alone make up nearly 25% of the WNBA's total revenue in this category, an extraordinary figure that speaks to her unmatched popularity. Whether it's fans buying her iconic number 22 jersey or scooping up exclusive Caitlin Clark-themed collectibles, her appeal is undeniable. The same goes for ticket sales. Clark's games are an event, consistently attracting record-breaking crowds. Caitlin Clark is changing the game, literally. Her ability to drain deep three-pointers, the kind you usually associate with Steph Curry, has redefined the expectations for women's basketball. It's not just about the range, it's her confidence, flair, and ability to consistently perform at a level we've rarely, if ever, seen before. NBA legends and basketball greats are taking notice, and their reactions are a testament to her talent and impact. Michael Jordan, the greatest of all time, didn't hold back in his praise. He highlighted how much Caitlin has done for the WNBA and called for better officiating to protect her from unnecessary fouls and hostility. MJ's message was clear: Caitlin is invaluable to the game, and it's time the league treated her accordingly. Steph Curry, often seen as her male counterpart, has been equally impressed. He's pointed out the similarities in their games, not just the lightning-fast release and jaw-dropping range, but also their ability to elevate teammates and put on a show for fans. As Steph said, she's the total package. But Caitlin's rise hasn't come without challenges. From the start, she's faced criticism and even hostility from some WNBA players. NBA legends like Rick Barry and George Gervin have defended her, calling out the jealousy and disrespect. Barry was blunt, saying the hate comes from fear of her undeniable talent. Gervin added that Caitlyn's impact goes beyond the court. She's brought private charters, bigger sponsorships, and unprecedented attention to the WNBA. As Barkley put it, you should be thanking that girl. Yet, not everyone is on board. Reggie Miller sees the adversity as part of Caitlyn's journey, arguing that every rookie must prove themselves. Kevin Garnett echoed that sentiment, framing the extra defensive attention and hard fouls as a sign of respect. They both believe these challenges will only make her stronger. The controversy around Caitlyn reached a new level when she was left off the U.S. Olympic roster. Critics like Paul Pierce argued it was a missed opportunity for the sport, while others, like Dwight Howard, saw it differently. Howard suggested the break might have been a blessing in disguise, giving Caitlyn time to recharge and dominate in the second half of the season. Through it all, Caitlyn has stayed focused. Her game has grown faster, sharper, and even more electrifying. Legends like Shaquille O'Neal have praised her ability to silence critics with her play. Shaq, in his signature style, summed it up perfectly. If I say you're not gonna hit that shot and you hit it anyway, you're the truth. What's remarkable is how much Caitlyn has already done for women's basketball. Magic Johnson, who has an ownership stake in the WNBA, compared her to young stars like Angel Reese, saying players like Caitlyn are shaping the league's future. Magic also pointed out that it's not just about Caitlyn being the most popular player, it's about her potential to reach the very top, just like he and Larry Bird once did. Even with all the challenges and noise, Caitlyn's journey has been nothing short of transformative. She's bringing in fans, raising the league's profile, and proving that women's basketball is a force to be reckoned with. As Charles Barkley said, the WNBA owes her a lot for what she's done for the game. Caitlyn Clark is not just a rising star, she's a trailblazer. Her ability to thrive under pressure, elevate the sport, and handle adversity with grace is why basketball legends, fans, and critics alike are rooting for her. Whether it's breaking records or changing perceptions, Caitlyn is building a legacy that will be talked about for years to come.
Woo! Man, I gotta tell you, that was close. I thought we were gonna get through a season without hearing anything stupid out of Sheryl Swoopes' mouth and anything that sounds rather interesting, something that you might choose to give some side eye to.
The Indiana Fever just dropped a league-shaking bombshell that sent shockwaves through the entire WNBA. In one bold stroke, they released not one, but two major rookie names from the team, igniting a frenzy across basketball circles. And as the dust barely began to settle, Sheryl Swoopes, longtime president of the anti-Caitlyn Clark Coalition, re-emerged with the energy of a comeback tour. But this time around, her sights weren't locked solely on Caitlyn Clark. She was coming for the entire Fever franchise.
And you have a black player that just got cut, and Sheryl Swoopes is not happy about that.
What began as a routine roster adjustment spiraled into full-fledged league drama, packed with tension and headlines that practically wrote themselves. Just when we assumed Swoopes had vanished into the void, she somehow pops back up out of nowhere. What's she saying now? And how is the Indiana Fever handling all this chaos? Drop your thoughts in the comments.
Call me nuts, but unfortunately for the old WNBA fandom and media, in her case, media and old players, unfortunately, in some cases, you do feel like there is something else lurking behind said opinions that may not be basketball related. Let's put it that way.
Let's kick things off with the roster cuts that turned heads. The Indiana Fever just made one of the boldest preseason decisions we've seen in years. Bree Hall, yes, that Bree Hall, The dynamic guard and two-time national champ from South Carolina was cut before she could even hit the floor for real minutes. That's right, not 1 second of action in the opener against Washington. Barely any time against Brazil. And just like that, she was out. And if that felt like a shock to the system, brace yourself. Because the Fever weren't finished.
Bree Hall is now gone, as you know. And today it was announced that Yvonne Ejim has been waived by the Fever as well. Sophie Cunningham talked about that yesterday, saying you can latch on to another team, another place.
Just because you didn't make a roster doesn't mean you're out of the W forever.
Roughly 24 hours later, the team dropped another bomb. Yvonne Ejim, Gonzaga's scoring powerhouse and a player with enough heart to light up the entire Pacific Northwest, was cut too. 2 rookies, each with standout college careers and genuine upside, were shown the door before they even had a chance to settle in. Barely a warm-up, and they were out. Just like that. This is pro sports at its most ruthless. It's not always about talent. It's timing, system fit, and sometimes just cold roster math, where dreams collide with the business side of basketball.
So the Indiana Fever, as expected, have waived Yvonne Ejim. She's just not at the level that the Indiana Fever are hoping her to be at.
The Fever announced it directly. Thank you, Yvonne Ejim, who was the all-time leading scorer in Gonzaga history.
Naturally, the big question is, why these two? To grasp the sting, you have to look at the Fever's salary cap situation. Thanks to Katie Lou Sampson's oversized contract, which the Fever had to buy out in order to sign key vets, the team could only carry 11 players on the roster. Veterans like Natasha Howard, DeWanna Bonner, Sydney Colson, Bree Turner, Sophie Cunningham, Damaris Dantas, and recently re-signed Kelsey Mitchell all have guaranteed contracts for at least a year. Cutting them wouldn't free up space. It would just leave their salaries on the books. The only contracts the team could actually shed were those of rookies still on their original deals, Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and Lexi Hull. And no team in their right mind would cut that trio, which means 10 of 11 spots were already locked in.
Man, it's hard, right? We all reached out. I think that they brought really good people in, great people into training camp this year. But just because you didn't make this spot, this is probably one of the harder rosters to make in the W this year. It doesn't mean you're out of the W, and you just got to keep ready, keep playing, keep grinding it out. And if it's hard to make the league. I know Sid and I, we were second rounders. We stuck. Her experience is a little bit different than mine, but just because you didn't make a roster doesn't mean you're out of the W forever.
In truth, all 3 rookies, including Michaela Timpson, who's been flashing real potential in training camp and preseason, were battling for just one available spot. And odds are, that spot is going to Timpson. The Fever need young forwards in the mix, and her speed, floor running ability, and elite defense make her a perfect fit. Fans are already calling her the steal of the draft, snagged at 19th overall, when many had her projected comfortably inside the top 10.
Michaela Timpson is obviously at a certain level. She's a rim runner. She just obviously has a higher ceiling than Ejim at the moment, and this is maybe a hot take.
For fans of Hall and Ejim, this one stings on a deeper level. It wasn't just about stats or performance, it was the unforgiving collision of salary constraints, tight roster limits, and the relentless push toward a championship window. These cuts hit hard because they weren't just about players. They were about potential, about belief. And in a blink, 2 promising dreams were put on pause.
And after all, we saw Sheryl Swoopes in rare form, hating on Caitlin Clark all last year. Well, maybe she has figured out, hating on Clark, I've been told that's not really a great idea. Yada, yada, yada. So what other white girls can I tune up from the Indiana Fever?
Unsurprisingly, the backlash came fast, and front and center with a megaphone was none other than Sheryl Swoopes. The second news broke about Bree Hall's cut, Swoopes lit up like she'd been waiting all offseason for a moment just like this. Her return wasn't subtle. It was a full-blown verbal takedown.
Okay, example. The Washington Mystics Indiana Fever game. Because I know on social media, people were like, well, why aren't the starters in for the Mystics? They could win this game. And I was there, right? Because preseason is about, yes, you're going to play your starters. You're going to play your players. Typically, they don't even play that many minutes. right? Because you have so many players on your roster that you got to make roster cuts. So you're still trying to figure out who can fit what we're doing.
On the latest episode of the Women's Hoop Show, Swoopes didn't just voice concern. She unleashed a one-woman verbal offensive, zeroing in on head coach Stephanie White. According to Swoopes, White didn't just mismanage the rotations, she outright sabotaged them. Her question was sharp. Why was Bree Hall glued to the bench while players with less upside were getting the spotlight?
But I did have a question, though, with Indiana, right? Because even though the starters weren't in, like Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull they've been in the league for a while. You actually had players who, like Bree Hall, why wasn't she in that game per se? If you're still trying to figure out who's going to make the team, who you're going to cut. So I was a little confused with what Steph was doing.
If you're still deciding who to cut, why wasn't Bree Hall even on the floor? She pressed. And if that jab wasn't sharp enough, the unspoken message rang even louder. This wasn't just about coaching strategy, it was about who gets grace, who's given a real shot, and who gets pushed aside before they've even had a chance. And if you thought Swoopes would stop there, not a chance. She cranked the pressure higher, zeroing in on the two players who did benefit from White's rotation decisions, Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull. With pointed precision, Swoopes didn't just question their roles, she dissected them. And the way she framed it? Let's just say the message echoed loud and clear across every corner of WNBA Twitter.
Ariafin, okay. This is gonna be a spicy season, cause Kiki was like, "What, Sophie? Girl, don't come over here." Sophie was like,
"Already,
I was
game
here
one,
here for it." But the fact that that's a rookie, right?
I know
Kiki,
she did not back down,
but she just turned and laughed. She was like, "What? What did you say? What are we doing?"
And then came the line that made her angle crystal clear. With heavy sarcasm, Swoopes remarked that maybe it was time to start tuning up the other white girls on the Fever, now that she'd been told to lay off Clark. That wasn't subtle. That wasn't shade. That was a spotlight and a narrative bomb detonated right in the center of the conversation.
My goodness, I mean, we've had 2 preseason games. 2! And we're back to it. We're back here. She's criticizing Stephanie White. I bet Sheryl Swoopes hates that last name. Criticizing Stephanie White. And, of course, it relates to Lexi Hall and Sophie Cunningham. Ooh, I bet Sheryl Swoopes hates her some Sophie Cunningham. You know she does.
Let's not forget, this isn't Swoopes' first anti-Clark rodeo. Long before Caitlin Clark ever suited up in a WNBA jersey, Swoopes was already raising eyebrows. She was one of the earliest, loudest voices to question nearly every facet of Clark's game. The records? Overhyped. The style? Too flashy. The swagger? Not earned. The leadership? Dubious. The age? The attitude? The media attention? Swoopes scrutinized it all. Practically everything short of Clark's shoe size. She made it clear from the jump that she wasn't buying the hype. And now that Clark isn't just a top draft pick, but the face of the Indiana Fever and a global fan favorite, Swoopes hasn't exactly softened her stance. On the contrary, she's expanded the battlefield. It's no longer just about Clark. Swoopes has shifted her focus to the entire perimeter, calling out the system that elevated Clark and questioning the structure that surrounds her. From coaching decisions to roster selections, she's aiming broader, louder, and sharper than ever before.
What's up, fans? Sydney Colson here. Super excited to be in Indy. Cannot wait to see y'all in Cambridge. See you soon.
For months, Sheryl Swoopes and other critics of Caitlin Clark have claimed that no one wants to play for the Indiana Fever. However, earlier this week, 2-time WNBA champion Sydney Colson arrived in Indiana with a powerful message that completely debunked that narrative.
I'm super excited about it. I'm going from a team that was a very in the media, like people are excited to watch us, into another team that is arguably the most talked about team in sports right now, especially in women's sports. So this fan base, it's exciting to to be a part of a team that has a lot of positive energy around it.
From the instant she showcased her new Fever jersey to her energetic presence at the Pacers game, Colson's debut with the team was a bold rebuttal to those who had questioned the franchise. What she shared at her press conference might be the most compelling defense of Caitlin Clark we've heard from a veteran player to date.
Oh, girl, I'm gonna put on some other clothes. Oh, dope. I'm like, I thought I saw the reflection when I was coming across the street. I'm like, wait a minute. What up, baby? Long time no see. It's been a month.
Remember when Sheryl Swoopes said nobody wants to play for the Fever? Sydney Colson just shattered that narrative. From the moment she arrived in Indiana, the atmosphere changed. A viral video showed teammates and staff eagerly welcoming her with real excitement. This wasn't a PR stunt, but a genuine, heartfelt embrace.
Hey! Hi! 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 Lexi, what's up, baby? Oh, it's good to see you. You too. How are you? Good. How are you? What's up, baby? How are you? I'm good. Good to see you. What up, A?
Who let you in here?
Man, how are you? Good to see you.
What up, too?
How you doing?
Nice to meet you.
I heard bad things about you from AJ.
Horrible. You know.
Oh, geez, right there. Oh, geez.
How you doing? I'm
How you doing? I'm Susie.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Already met. Okay, we're all grown up.
What makes this moment even more impactful is the stark contrast to the harsh criticism from Swoopes and other detractors, who claimed veterans would avoid playing with Caitlin Clark. The footage tells a completely different story, one of unity and excitement for what lies ahead.
See the jersey. Aww. Dope. Yes. It's so weird to see yourself in new colors. I love it. I love it. I love it. What's this?
Definitely they sent you a Fever. And I want to make sure you had one.
When Sydney first saw her new Fever jersey, her pride and excitement were unmistakable. Holding it up with a big smile, she showed genuine love for the team's colors, marking the start of a new chapter and an exciting opportunity in Indiana. Her interactions with the Fever staff were just as telling, with General Manager Amber Cox confidently saying, "I think she's going to bring a lot of joy to our lives this season."
She was somebody we targeted really, really early to come in and play that backup point guard role. We have ultimate faith and trust in her in any situation that we put her in. She's going to be able to lead our team. And obviously, you know, great personality as well, brings a lot of fun and levity to the locker room. Again, that experience, knows when we need which side, right? Like the serious, the tough veteran leadership versus the, you know, fun, playful Sid. So I think she's gonna bring a lot of joy to all of our lives this season.
Sydney's instant chemistry with everyone highlights the positive culture the Fever are building, directly countering the negative narratives from some former players. Her arrival video quickly went viral, racking up thousands of likes and retweets as fans embraced her genuine excitement. This authentic connection only makes the critics' claims seem more out of touch.
I think when we set out in free agency, it was to bring in veteran leadership, and we've done that. Players who have had deep playoff runs, we've done that. You look at a player like Sydney Colson, coming off what she's been able to do in Vegas, dating back to her, championship in Texas A&M. She's a winner, knows how to win, knows how to play a role. So she was somebody we targeted really early, but, you know, just looking down the line in free agency, just really excited. When the plan comes together, you feel really good about it. Again, it looks great on paper. We got to get everybody on the court, but overall, really excited about the roster.
Sydney didn't just show up for the cameras. Her first workout with the Fever proved exactly why they targeted her from the start. She brought elite commitment, displaying her skills and infectious energy, underscoring the value of her veteran presence. This wasn't a reluctant player joining a team. This was someone eager to dive in.
A lot of things. It was Amber and Kelly, Stephanie, Kelsey I played with at Athletes Unlimited for several years. Love Caitlin's game, love Aaliyah's game. It made sense. I made this decision mentally before DB and Natasha were even a part of the mix. And so all the new additions, Breezy, Sophie, like it's going to be a fun season. And
what makes Sydney's arrival even more significant is the timing. She chose the Fever before stars like Natasha Howard and DeWanna Bonner signed. This wasn't following the crowd. She wanted to be in Indiana, regardless of who else joined. Critics who claimed veterans would avoid the Fever now have some explaining to do. Sydney's excitement proves the negative narrative around Clark and the franchise wrong.
All right, switching gears now, we are looking forward to a new season for the Indiana Fever, now less than 2 months away. And today we formally introduced the team, I should say, formally introduced its newest player.
Yes, so here she is. This is guard Sydney Colson. She is joining the Fever following 3 seasons with the Las Vegas Aces. That is where she helped the team win back-to-back WNBA titles in 2022 and 23.
Critics were wrong not only about Sydney joining Indiana, but also about what she'd say once she got there. At her first press conference, instead of giving a neutral response about Caitlin Clark, Sydney's words sent shockwaves through the basketball world.
So listen to what Colson had to say today when asked what she is hoping to bring to the Fever.
The Indiana Fever press room was electric, with journalists packed in and cameras poised, all waiting to see if the veteran champion would confirm the narrative that established players resented Clark's spotlight. The tension was thick in the air.
What was it like to watch what Caitlin did for this franchise from afar? Different perspective.
Yeah, no, it was nuts. There's no other way to say it. It was nuts. I think, you're seeing a team that's now affecting the economy in the city. You got people coming from out of town, out of state, out of the country, maybe even to see games. And so that's special.
You've been studying.
Huh?
You've been studying those studies.
Yeah, man, I try to pay attention, but no, it's been cool to see. Caitlin's a remarkable player. She's going to be good here for a long time, so I know people are excited about, her future here.
The moment the reporter asked the question everyone had been waiting for, what Sydney truly thought about Clark's impact on Indianapolis and the WNBA, it was like time stood still. You could almost hear a pin drop as the room fell into silence, all eyes on her. Without missing a beat, Sydney answered with raw sincerity, her voice tinged with awe. Then, she dropped the game-changing words that shattered the critics' narrative in an instant. It was nuts!